Ladies and gentlemen, today I want to talk about the profound strength in silence. We live in a world that is often loud, full of voices competing for attention, filled with a constant hum of technology and the endless chatter of expectations. But within this noise lies a paradox sometimes. The most impactful thing we can do is stay silent. Silence often feels like an act of surrender, a relinquishing of control that leaves us exposed and uncertain. In a society that prizes assertiveness, quick responses, and constant communication, choosing to remain silent can be seen as a sign of weakness. But let's challenge that narrative. Let's redefine silence as an act of immense courage. When we choose silence, we are choosing to resist the impulse to defend, explain, or justify ourselves. It takes bravery to sit with discomfort, to let questions linger unanswered, and to allow space for thoughts and emotions to settle. Vulnerability in silence is about stepping into the unknown, trusting that we don't need to control every outcome. Think about how vulnerable silence makes us feel in moments of conflict. When someone challenges us or when we feel misunderstood, our instinct is often to react immediately, to clarify our intentions or to assert our position. But in those moments, silence can be transformative. It shows that we trust the strength of our character more than the strength of our argument. It tells the world that we don't need validation from external sources to affirm our worth. Vulnerability in silence also opens the door to deeper self-awareness. When we choose to stop speaking and simply be present, we are forced to confront our inner dialogues, the fears, insecurities, and unresolved emotions that often get drowned out in the noise of daily life. Sitting with this discomfort is not easy. It's a courageous act of facing ourselves honestly and without distraction. Moreover, silence and vulnerability is an act of trust, not just in ourselves, but in others. When we remain silent, we're allowing others to express themselves fully without interruption or judgment. We're showing that we value their perspective enough to listen deeply and completely. This is a vulnerable position to take because it means relinquishing control of the narrative, letting go of the need to steer the conversation, and being open to outcomes we cannot predict. In relationships, this kind of vulnerable silence is especially powerful. It builds connection and fosters trust because it demonstrates a willingness to let go of ego. Instead of rushing to defend or prove ourselves, we show that we are willing to be fully present, to hear what others have to say, and to sit with the discomfort that sometimes comes from simply listening. This level of vulnerability strengthens bonds and invites authenticity into our interactions. Finally, vulnerability in silence requires us to let go of the societal expectation that we must always be doing. Silence is an act of being, not doing, and that can feel incredibly vulnerable in a world that equates productivity with worth. To embrace silence is to acknowledge that our value doesn't lie in how much we say, how quickly we respond, or how often we contribute to the conversation. It is a radical act of self-acceptance, a declaration that we are enough just as we are, even in the quiet moments. Stillness is often misunderstood in today's fast-paced world. Many of us equate stillness with inactivity, imagining it as an absence of motion, productivity, or purpose. But true stillness is not about doing nothing, it's about creating space. It is the deliberate act of stepping back, of pausing long enough to reconnect with the core of who we are and the truths that guide us. Stillness is not empty, it is full of potential and meaning. In the chaos of modern life, we are constantly bombarded with noise and distractions. There's always another email to answer, another task to complete, another goal to chase. But this ceaseless activity comes at a cost. It erodes our sense of clarity, leaving us feeling scattered and disconnected. Stillness, on the other hand, offers a counterbalance. It invites us to slow down, to breathe deeply, and to listen not to the clamor of external demands, but to the quiet wisdom within. When we embrace stillness, we open ourselves to a world of insight that cannot be accessed through busyness. Imagine a pond on a windy day. Its surface ripples and distorts, making it impossible to see the depths beneath. But when the wind dies down and the water becomes still, it transforms into a mirror, reflecting the sky above and revealing the mysteries below. Our minds and hearts are much the same. In the absence of stillness, our thoughts and emotions churn endlessly, preventing us from seeing clearly. But when we allow ourselves to be still, we gain a profound perspective on ourselves, on others, and on the situations we face. Stillness is not always comfortable. It requires us to confront what we often try to avoid: our fears, doubts, and uncertainties. Yet, it is in this confrontation that stillness reveals its true power. By sitting with these emotions instead of running from them, we gain the strength to move through them. We begin to understand that our discomfort does not define us, and we develop the resilience needed to navigate life's challenges with grace. Moreover, stillness is a space for creativity and renewal. In a world that demands constant output, we forget that creativity thrives in moments of quiet reflection. Many of history's greatest ideas and breakthroughs were born in solitude, in the silent spaces where the mind was free to wander and explore without constraint. When we embrace stillness, we give ourselves permission to dream, to imagine, and to create without the pressure of immediate results. Stillness also deepens our connection with the present moment. So often we are caught up in the past or worried about the future, neglecting the beauty and richness of the now. Stillness calls us back to the present, reminding us that life unfolds in moments, not in destinations. It teaches us to savor the simple joys, to notice the details that often go overlooked, and to find gratitude in the here and now. In stillness, we also cultivate patience. The world often urges us to hurry, to push for answers and outcomes. But stillness teaches us that some things cannot be rushed. Just as a flower blooms in its own time, so too do the solutions, opportunities, and growth we seek. Stillness allows us to wait with trust, knowing that life's rhythms will unfold as they should. Perhaps one of the most transformative aspects of stillness is the way it connects us to something greater than ourselves. In the quiet, we become aware of the interconnectedness of all things. We sense the flow of life around us and within us, realizing that we are part of a vast and intricate tapestry. This awareness brings a sense of peace and humility, grounding us in the knowledge that we are not alone and that we are supported by forces beyond our comprehension. By embracing stillness, we also reclaim our power. It may seem paradoxical, but stillness is an act of strength. It takes courage to step away from the noise, to resist the urge to fill every moment with activity, and to prioritize our inner well-being over external validation. Stillness reminds us that our worth is not determined by how much we do or how quickly we do it. It is a declaration that we are enough simply by being, and that our value lies not in our output, but in our essence. In a world that often demands performance and perfection, authenticity can feel elusive. We are encouraged to present ourselves in ways that align with societal expectations, conforming to roles and personas that may not reflect who we truly are. Yet the quiet moments, the spaces where we are free from external scrutiny, offer us an invaluable opportunity to rediscover our authenticity and let it shine. Authenticity begins with self-awareness, and quiet is its most profound ally. When we embrace moments of silence, we strip away the noise that often drowns out our inner voice, the opinions of others, the pressures of success, and the constant barrage of information. In the quiet, we are left with ourselves. It is in this solitude that we can ask the essential questions: who am I when no one is watching? What do I truly value? What do I desire? Not because the world tells me to, but because it resonates with my soul. This process is not always easy. The quiet can feel unsettling because it forces us to confront parts of ourselves we might otherwise ignore. It requires us to acknowledge our fears, insecurities, and contradictions. But it is precisely through this confrontation that authenticity emerges. The quiet gives us the courage to accept our imperfections, to embrace our humanity, and to own our unique story without apology. In the stillness, we also recognize the masks we wear and the roles we play. We begin to see how much energy goes into maintaining appearances that may not reflect our true selves. Silence is a mirror reflecting back the disconnect between who we are and who we pretend to be. It invites us to let go of these facades, to shed the layers that no longer serve us, and to step into the fullness of our identity. Authenticity in the quiet is not about perfection, it's about truth. It's about allowing ourselves to be seen, even by ourselves, without judgment or shame. It's about acknowledging our strengths and our struggles, our dreams and our doubts, and understanding that all of these aspects make us whole. In the quiet, we learn that we don't have to be anything other than what we are to be worthy of love and belonging. The quiet also helps us clarify our values. In the absence of distractions, we can reflect on what truly matters to us, not what we've been told to prioritize, but what aligns with our deepest beliefs and aspirations. This clarity empowers us to make choices that are authentic, to live in alignment with our principles, and to find fulfillment not in chasing external approval, but in honoring our inner truth. Authenticity shines brightest in the quiet because it is here that we connect with our essence. In a world that often measures worth by comparison, the quiet reminds us that our uniqueness is our greatest strength. It teaches us that we don't have to conform to fit in or compete to stand out. Instead, we can simply be trusting that our individuality is enough. The quiet also strengthens our relationships by allowing us to bring our authentic selves to our connections. When we take the time to sit with ourselves in silence, we build a foundation of self-acceptance that extends to others. We no longer feel the need to perform or please. Instead, we can engage with honesty and vulnerability. Authenticity invites deeper connection because it is grounded in truth, and truth untruths trust. In the quiet, we also discover the courage to pursue our passions and dreams. So often, the noise of the world discourages us from taking risks or following unconventional paths. But the quiet is where we hear the whispers of our heart urging us to take the leap, to create, to explore. It is in these moments that we realize authenticity is not a destination, but a journey, a continuous process of aligning our actions with our inner compass. Ultimately, authenticity shines in the quiet because it is here that we give ourselves permission to simply exist. There is no audience to impress, no expectations to meet, and no judgments to fear. In the quiet, we find freedom, the freedom to be messy, to be vulnerable, and to be real. This is where our light emerges, not from striving or performing, but from the simple act of being true to ourselves. Listening is often treated as a passive act, something that happens while waiting for our turn to speak. But true listening, the kind that fosters connection, empathy, and understanding, is anything but passive. It is a deeply intentional act requiring focus, patience, and an open heart. When we listen with the intent to understand rather than to respond, we transform conversations into opportunities for genuine connection and insight. To listen with intent, we must first let go of the need to assert our own perspective. Too often, conversations become battlegrounds where individuals compete to have their viewpoints heard and validated. But when we approach listening as a means of understanding rather than persuading, we shift the focus from ourselves to the other person. This shift is not about suppressing our thoughts or opinions, it's about making space for someone else's experience to be fully seen and acknowledged. Listening with the intent to understand also requires presence. In our fast-paced, multitasking culture, we're often only half listening, our attention divided between the speaker and our internal to-do lists, phones, or other distractions. But real understanding demands our full presence. It calls us to set aside distractions, quiet our inner monologues, and direct our attention entirely to the person in front of us. Presence is a gift we give to others, a way of saying, I see you, I value you, what you have to say matters to me. Empathy is a cornerstone of listening to understand. When we listen empathetically, we go beyond hearing words, we strive to grasp the emotions, intentions, and context behind them. Empathy allows us to step into another person's shoes, to see the world through their eyes, and to feel their experiences as they might feel them. This depth of understanding fosters compassion and breaks down barriers, creating a bridge between differing perspectives. An essential component of listening to understand is patience. Often we rush to fill silences or offer solutions, believing that action is what's needed. But understanding takes time. It requires us to sit with ambiguity, to allow others to fully express themselves without interruption, and to resist the urge to fix or solve. Patience in listening shows that we respect the process of communication and trust the other person to share what they need to in their own time. Listening with intent also involves curiosity. Genuine understanding arises when we approach conversations with an open mind and a willingness to learn. Curiosity prompts us to ask thoughtful questions, not to challenge or critique, but to delve deeper into the other person's perspective. It encourages us to explore their experiences, values, and beliefs, uncovering the layers of meaning that shape their worldview. Importantly, listening to understand also means letting go of judgment. When we listen with preconceived notions or biases, we filter what we hear through our own lens, often distorting the speaker's message. True understanding requires us to suspend our assumptions, to approach conversations with humility, and to accept that we may not know or agree with everything we hear. This openness creates a safe space where others feel free to be vulnerable and authentic. In the context of conflict, listening with the intent to understand can be transformative. Disagreements often escalate when individuals feel unheard or misunderstood. By truly listening, we validate the other person's feelings and experiences, even if we don't share their perspective. This validation does not mean agreement, it means acknowledging their humanity and their right to be seen and heard. When people feel understood, they are more likely to soften their defenses, opening the door to resolution and mutual respect. Listening to understand also enriches our relationships. It fosters trust, as those we engage with come to know that their words and feelings are safe with us. It deepens intimacy as we gain a deeper appreciation for the nuances of their thoughts, fears, and aspirations. And it strengthens bonds, as the act of being truly heard is one of the most profound forms of connection we can experience. In listening with intent, we also grow ourselves. Each conversation becomes an opportunity to expand our understanding of the world, to challenge our assumptions, and to see life from perspectives we might never have considered. This growth is a reminder that understanding is not a one-way street, it is a mutual exchange where both parties are enriched. Ultimately, listening with the intent to understand is a practice of love and respect. It is a declaration that every voice matters and that every story has value. It is a way of honoring the individuality of others while fostering the connections that unite us all. It is not about agreeing or convincing, it is about being present, open, and willing to learn from each other in the most profound and meaningful ways. Resilience is often portrayed as a fiery, outward-facing force, a display of strength, determination, and the ability to push forward despite adversity. While there is truth in that depiction, resilience also thrives in quieter, less visible moments. It is in the stillness and the pauses between action where resilience finds its roots, grows deeper, and fortifies us for the challenges ahead. Quiet moments offer the space needed for reflection. In the noise of daily life, it's easy to lose sight of our inner reserves and the strength we have cultivated over time. But when we embrace the quiet, we create an environment where we can step back, take stock of what we've been through, and recognize our capacity to endure and adapt. Reflection in the quiet reminds us of our past victories, not just the grand accomplishments, but the small, quiet battles we've won along the way. Resilience also requires recovery, and quiet is its sanctuary. Life's difficulties can leave us drained emotionally, mentally, and physically. The quiet offers a space for rest where we can let go of the constant need to respond and simply exist. It is in this stillness that our bodies and minds begin to heal, regaining the energy and clarity needed to face whatever comes next. Quiet is not avoidance, it is a deliberate act of restoration, an acknowledgement that resilience is not about endless effort, but about knowing when to pause and recharge. In the quiet, we learn to sit with discomfort. Modern life often encourages us to escape from pain or to distract ourselves from difficult emotions. Yet true resilience comes from our ability to confront discomfort head-on, to sit with it, and to process it without rushing to suppress or bypass it. The quiet provides the space to feel, to grieve, to acknowledge our fears, and to slowly transform them into strength. This process is not easy, but it is essential. It is in the silence that we learn to hold our pain with grace rather than allowing it to overwhelm us. Quiet also nurtures perspective, a key element of resilience. When we are caught in the whirlwind of challenges, it can be difficult to see beyond the immediate struggles. But the quiet allows us to zoom out, to view our problems from a broader vantage point. It reminds us that no difficulty lasts forever and that we are part of a larger narrative. Perspective gained in the quiet helps us to reframe challenges, to see them not as insurmountable obstacles, but as opportunities for growth and learning. Resilience in the quiet is deeply connected to self-awareness. In the silence, we have the opportunity to reconnect with our core values, our motivations, and the strengths that define us. This self-awareness becomes a compass, guiding us through uncertain times. It is in these moments of introspection that we remember who we are at our core and what we are capable of. Quiet reminds us that our worth is not tied to how much we do or how quickly we bounce back, but to our ability to stay true to ourselves in the face of adversity. Moreover, the quiet fosters creativity, an often overlooked aspect of resilience. When we are faced with challenges, it is creativity that allows us to find new solutions, to adapt to unexpected circumstances, and to envision possibilities beyond our immediate reality. The quiet provides the mental space for creative thinking to flourish, free from the constraints of urgency and pressure. It is in these moments of stillness that we discover new paths forward, tapping into the wellspring of ingenuity that resides within us. Another critical way that resilience thrives in the quiet is through the cultivation of patience. Resilience is not always about immediate action sometimes. It is about waiting, trusting the process, and allowing time to do its work. The quiet teaches us the value of patience not as passivity, but as an active choice to remain steadfast in the face of uncertainty. It reminds us that growth often happens beneath the surface, invisible but no less significant. Quiet also strengthens our connection to hope. In the noise of hardship, hope can feel distant or unattainable. But in the stillness, hope becomes clearer, like a soft light that guides us forward. The quiet gives us the chance to reconnect with our dreams, to envision better days ahead, and to remind ourselves that resilience is not just about enduring, it is about believing in the possibility of renewal and joy. Finally, quiet is where we cultivate our inner resources. Resilience is not just about external circumstances, it is about the internal tools we develop to navigate life's challenges. In the silence, we build emotional regulation, learning to calm ourselves in moments of stress. We strengthen our capacity for gratitude, recognizing the good even amidst difficulty. We deepen our sense of purpose, grounding ourselves in the why that drives us to keep going. Quiet is not empty, it is where resilience is forged, one moment of introspection, healing, and hope at a time. In a world driven by deadlines, quick turnarounds, and the ceaseless push for progress, it's easy to feel like life should move as quickly as we demand it to. But the universe has its own rhythm, a pace that often defies our expectations and challenges our sense of control. The unfolding of events, the alignment of opportunities, and the resolution of challenges rarely happen on our schedule. Yet there is a profound wisdom in the natural timing of the universe, one that teaches us patience, trust, and humility. To understand the pace of the universe, we must first accept that life is not linear. We're taught to see progress as a straight line, a series of predictable steps leading from one goal to the next. But the universe operates in cycles, ebbs and flows. Just as the seasons change in their time, flowers blooming only when the earth is ready, rivers carving paths over centuries, our lives unfold in ways that cannot be rushed. Recognizing this truth allows us to release the pressure of forcing outcomes and embrace the rhythm of life as it is. When we resist the pace of the universe, we often create unnecessary frustration and anxiety. How many times have we wanted something to happen immediately, whether it's a career breakthrough, a relationship milestone, or personal growth, only to find that the more we push, the further it seems to slip away? This resistance stems from our desire for control, our belief that we can dictate the timeline of our lives. But the universe reminds us time and again that control is an illusion. Instead of fighting against its pace, we can choose to surrender to it, trusting that everything unfolds as it should. The pace of the universe is deeply connected to the concept of timing. We often hear the phrase, everything happens for a reason, but it's more accurate to say that everything happens in its time. Opportunities arise when we are ready to seize them, even if we don't realize it in the moment. Relationships enter or exit our lives at the precise moment they are meant to teach us, support us, or challenge us. The universe's timing is not random, it is an intricate dance of cause and effect, aligning circumstances in ways that serve our highest good, even when it's difficult to see. Learning to live in harmony with the universe's pace requires patience, a virtue that is often tested in a world of instant gratification. Patience is not passive, it is an active choice to remain grounded and open while waiting for things to unfold. It is the recognition that rushing through life robs us of its richness, that growth and transformation take time, and that the most meaningful experiences cannot be hurried. In cultivating patience, we learn to find peace in the waiting, knowing that the universe is always at work, even when progress seems invisible. The pace of the universe also invites us to let go of comparison. In a society that constantly measures success against others, it's easy to feel left behind when someone else achieves something we desire. But comparing our journey to someone else's, like comparing the blooming of a sunflower to the blossoming of a cherry tree. Each unfolds in its season, neither better nor worse, only different. The universe moves at its own pace for each of us, reminding us that our paths are uniquely ours, shaped by experiences, choices, and lessons that cannot be replicated. Trusting the universe's pace also deepens our connection to the present moment. When we focus too much on the future, on what we want to achieve, or where we think we should be, we lose sight of the beauty and potential of the now. The universe calls us to be present, to appreciate the journey, rather than fixating solely on the destination. It reminds us that life is not a race, but a series of moments, each with its own purpose and significance. In embracing the universe's timing, we also cultivate a sense of trust. Trust that the opportunities meant for us will not pass us by. Trust that delays and detours are not failures, but redirections. Trust that even in moments of uncertainty and struggle, the universe is guiding us toward growth, healing, and fulfillment. This trust allows us to move through life with greater ease, releasing the need to control every outcome and allowing ourselves to flow with the rhythm of the universe. The universe's pace also teaches us humility. It reminds us that we are not the sole architects of our lives, that there are forces at play far greater than our individual will. This humility is not about feeling powerless, it's about recognizing that we are part of a vast, interconnected system, one that operates with its own logic and wisdom. By humbling ourselves to the universe's timing, we find freedom in knowing that we don't have to have all the answers or force all the solutions. Finally, the pace of the universe is a reminder of the importance of balance. Just as nature alternates between growth and rest, action and stillness, our lives require both movement and pause. There are times for striving, for pursuing our goals with energy and determination, and times for resting, for allowing things to unfold without interference. The universe's pace honors this balance, guiding us to act when the moment is right and to wait when the time calls for patience. This speech explores the profound wisdom in embracing the natural timing of the universe. It highlights the importance of patience, trust, and humility in navigating life's unpredictable rhythms. By reflecting on the cyclical nature of growth and the value of presence, it encourages letting go of control and comparison. Emphasizing alignment with the universe's pace, the speech inspires a deeper connection to trust, balance, and self-awareness, offering a path to find peace and meaning in life's unfolding journey.